Was the Apostle Paul the original Antichrist? Former minister and Bible college graduate Jeffrey Daugherty raises this and other staggering questions from the New Testament itself. The Christian Whistleblower asks if Jesus' original message has been warped into a fear and guilt-based control matrix. Here's Ali with more.
Thanks, Seb. Daugherty's 35 years of research challenge everyone to consider new perspectives and ask themselves, just what lies behind my religion? Are we born with original sin or the spark of divinity within?
Deep questions, Ali. Thanks. The Christian Whistleblower. We'll be watching.
Well, I hope you're watching. Welcome to Late Night in the Heartland. Oh, yeah, nice to hear you. Late Night in the Heartland. It's Thursday night. Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, cousins of all ages, and we're so glad to have you here in the worldwide studios of Late Night in the Heartland. We're working with our shortwave partner, WBCQ, and we are transmitting literally across the world on 7.490 and 6.160 megahertz. We're also now on iHeartRadio and all the other podcast platforms except for Apple because they're almost impossible to work with. You can also find us, and we'll talk about this in other places as well. And we're trying to do everything we can to get our message out, especially now as we enter into the second day of complete communist occupation of all communications and social media in the United States of America, at least, and probably beyond. And we are in day 2 of complete occupation by communist CCP forces and forces loyal to them. So if something should happen, and it might, it may, it could, so we want to be prepared. If something should happen where you would lose your Christian Whistleblower or you would lose your mailman, you can always go to jeffreydaugherty.com. And you can always find me there. Your friendly plastic Jesus will be there, and we'll have all the information that you need to hear this podcast. Worst case scenario, we will podcast it just from here, and everything will be all right. But folks, we are sick and tired of what YouTube has done, and I'm supporting decentralization. And I'm asking you and I'm challenging you, number one, please subscribe to this channel. And I'm asking you to follow me and to tip me. You can tip on these other channels. Follow me and tip me on these great platforms. LBRY, I guess it's library, but LBRY. This is a fully blockchain platform, and I'm studying it very, very intently. I'm already on LBRY. Well, let's just, if I click on it, it won't go for you anyway. But if you come to my site and you click on LBRY, you'll go straight to my channel. They actually mirrored almost 1,000 videos of my channel, just boom, like that, within a few hours. Odyssey is a kind of a TikTok competitor that comes from the LBRY folks. And what I'm going to do there is I've got a channel called Take 5 with the Christian Whistleblower, and I'm going to have 5-minute boom, pow, wham videos that are going to run on Odyssey, because that's a boom, pow, wham attention span right there. And then we're also on BitChute. I upload those. There's another one called Theta TV, and it is also completely blockchain, but I'm trying to get in there. I don't know if they love my content so much, but Theta TV, if anyone is out there listening that can give me the stream key that I've requested on Twitter, I'm ready to rock and roll. Bring our 46,700 subscribers over and help make some things happen. And that's what we're here for, folks. We are supporting decentralization, and we are about to make some things happen. And I want you to remember that optimization and unindoctrination are daily choices. And so is my daily choice. I'm telling you, folks, the CBD, I know I got the glasses going. I know I got the tones and the frequencies, and I've got the energy medicine going too right now. And the CBD. I can't even really explain what it's like to be me, but with me, it's always like there's so much frenetic energy that there's a kind of a zzz in my head. But when I'm taking the great CBD, it doesn't get me high. It doesn't have me chasing the dragon. Well, it does, but not in that way. It just gives me a great sense of peace, centeredness, purposefulness, and my health is improving greatly. So go to My Daily Choice. Just go to whistleblowercbd.com. Try this stuff out. It's amazing. Pamela, thank you for the great order that you made today. And you can always find out what's going on with Late Night in the Heartland here. Tonight, we're going to give you an update on the band, and we're going to talk about prophets, jesters, jugglers, and minstrels. Believe it or not, this is last night's video. And keep your eyes on this space right here. I am sick of YouTube banning content. I'm doing something about it. How about you? Again, follow and tip Jeffrey on these great platforms today. Let's send YouTube a special message. How about half a peace sign? And keep your eye here because we're going to be rocking and rolling. I need another couple of days. It'll probably be before Monday before I can give you my full plan of attack. Now, let's talk a little bit about some things before we get into our main topic. It's not just Hunter Biden's taxes, ladies and gentlemen. I know people are focused on his taxes, but it's not just his taxes by any means. It's actually a money laundering and foreign ties investigation that's being conducted by none other than the Department of Justice. Delaware authorities are not the only ones that are taking an interest in Hunter Biden and his immediate family, and tax issues are not the only subject at hand. James Anthony of PM writes that as the Hunter Biden released a statement on Wednesday confirming he's currently under investigation by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware, his statement read that the authorities are investigating tax affairs, but it's much more important than that. These investigations are already underway in 2019. They are going into the length and the breadth of Hunter Biden's financial dealings, and these dealings are leading to many other members of the Biden family, and the FBI is now also beginning to ask questions. And as part of a federal criminal investigation in the Western District of Pennsylvania, a hospital chain linked to Joe Biden's brother Jimmy has also come under scrutiny. So, folks, this is a lot less, or excuse me, it's a lot more than just Hunter Biden's taxes. This is big, big stuff. Now, I put here, pump the brakes on Trudeau and the Chinese military. And I need to maybe back off on that a little bit, but I'm a straight up individual. I'm not going to try to run and hide and pretend like I didn't say anything. When I first was told about this, Trudeau is allowing Chinese troops to train in Canada, I looked at the source. It's a crazy right-wing source out of Canada. Not that I'm anything different, but you've got to make sure it's not, one of these places that talk first and study later. And there's way too many of you in this genre, way too many of you. I'm not that way. I study first, then I talk. So many of you talk, yell, scream, cry, blubber, get snot all down your face, and then you go and do your study and you find out, it isn't what it was. However, it does look like Justin Trudeau has allowed the Chinese military to repeatedly train in Canada, including training for cold weather warfare. And it has been leaked out to the military. And it does look like this is true. They've allowed them to come in, train, and go home, training in cold weather because I guess there's not enough cold weather in the frozen north of China. I don't know. But anyway, and Trudeau obviously is a communist sympathizer. I should just remove the sympathizer. It's probably very, very true that Trudeau is a communist, and Trudeau is allowing access to the Chinese military to Canada because he's hoping to help facilitate a Chinese Communist Party takeover of the West and the entire world. However, there remains absolutely zero evidence of any standing Chinese troops in Canada. There remains absolutely zero evidence of any standing Chinese troops in Mexico. Folks, when the best proof they got is a picture of a bunch of girls in a reform school walking down a road with long hair, no name tags, no rank insignias, some tucked, some untucked, not even in uniform, no cover, not wearing any hats. Those are not Chinese troops. And in this day and age, if there were Chinese troops in Canada, somebody'd have a picture of it. If there were Chinese troops in Mexico, people would have pictures of it. Yes, he's been trained, has allowed Chinese military to come in and train. Then they went back to China. There's no Chinese troops in Canada. There's no Chinese troops in Mexico. Why don't you worry about things that might actually happen? Take Mark Twain's advice. He says that he worried about millions of things through his life. One or two actually happened. Why don't you worry about things that are important? Why don't you focus on things that will help you ascend and things that will help you become a more balanced person? Why don't you work on clearing yourself of aberrations instead of looking for another shiny object for you to get all in a tither about so you can talk to your extremist friends and worry about Nostradamus and the book of Revelation? Oh my. Folks, this is a time for celebration, not fear. The Second American Revolution is upon us. 2020 is 1776. And part of that, the second part of that revolution, is a spiritual revolution coming out of the fear and guilt, black magic, mind control matrix. Now, the John Roberts on the Epstein flight logs, before we get into our main topic. Some people were thinking, oh, is it Supreme Court Justice John Roberts? And we're not sure that it's not, but we can't say that it is. However, I believe it was Ms. Dyer that sent me this tidbit of news, and she was repeating, I believe, or passing on something that was proposed on one of the social medias. It looks like it was actually on Twitter. Now, let me see if I can increase the size of this so maybe you can see it. It's not the greatest resolution, but are we talking about Are we talking about Supreme Court justice? Or are we talking about, oh, you guys were watching all that, weren't you? Or are we talking about this John Roberts? And as soon as I saw it, it clicked for me, and I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. John Roberts, Fox chief White House correspondent from Fox News. And I got to tell you, I'm always a little bit leery of the guys that talk about what a great husband they are on their social media. It sounds like a little bit of compensation. And look at that idiot with Air Force One in the back. He's probably not even allowed on the Air Force One. So is that the John Roberts that is on the Epstein flight logs? I don't know, but it certainly seems to have more of a ring of truth, at least in my mind, than Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. But hey, if there's anything that we've learned these days is that we can't rule anything out. We really can't. So we have to remain vigilant. We have to remain awake. We have to remain open. And it's important for us to focus on the things that are most important for us to focus on. And speaking of important things to focus on, This, again, gets right to the core of the matter, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about prophets. Did you know that prophets have always been jesters, jugglers, and minstrels? Back in the day, in the Old Testament days, the prophets were jesters, jugglers, and minstrels. And today, it's still the same. The prophets are jesters, jugglers, and minstrels. This is a hidden secret that maybe they don't know themselves, and that they certainly cannot afford you discovering. And if you want to know what prophets are, watch the series called The Witcher. There's a guy there that's called the Bard, and he goes around singing songs, telling tales, entertaining. I don't know if he juggles, but that's what a prophet is, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly what a prophet is. And you don't have to take my word for it. It's actually in the script. You call it the scripture. I call it the script. So let's look at this. Prophets, jesters, jugglers, and minstrels, they're all the same thing. We're going to look at 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse number 5. And I want you to listen to this with new ears. I want you to see this with new eyes. And I want you to try to take the position of somebody that is absolutely objective and empirical, and pretend you just had never heard of a Bible and you just stumbled over one in the sand on the beach of the deserted island that you're inhabiting. And let's look at this verse. Thou shalt meet a company of prophets. Think about that, a company of prophets. You'll meet a company of prophets. They're coming down from the high place, and they've got a psaltery, which is an instrument, a tabret, which is an instrument, or a psaltery might be a songbook, but it's an instrument, a pipe, a harp. And they're going to have this songs, they're going to have these instruments, and they're going to use these songs, these instruments, to prophesy. And then the spirit of the rat bastard will come upon you, and you will prophesy with them, especially if you've had a little wine. You might prophesy on top of a table, the little wine in you. And you shall be turned into another man, a dancing on the table, Chippendales kind of man. Now, let's just look at this objectively. You're going to meet a company of prophets. When we're talking about prophets, you know how the prophets are. The prophets are like loan. It's the prophet that's out there eating bugs and wearing camel skin, right? That's the idea. We have a prophet. I'm not even going to go there, even though I'm so tempted. But you know that they're the lone wolves. Ooh, interesting. The prophets are the lone wolves. That's what we've always been taught. The prophets are out there by themselves, talking to God, getting messages from God. But yet, in biblically speaking, prophets traveled in a company. They traveled in a company. Look that up in 1 Samuel 10:5 in the Hebrew. A company is a band, like the Beatles, like U2. It's a chord. They're in one accord. It's a group, ladies and gentlemen. It's a group. You have to be able to see this, or you have no objectivity left in you. When it's a company of prophets, it's obviously a company of entertainers. A prophet, according to 1 Samuel 10:5, the Hebrew, is a speaker, a teller, and an entertainer. That's why they're traveling in a band, in a group. You have seen the movies. If you've read the literature, if you have ever heard of anything called the Canterbury Tales, you understand that there were groups of people that would go from town to town to town, village to village to village. They would sing, they would dance, they would play instruments, they would tell stories, they would do puppet shows, they would juggle. And these people were, for lack of a better term, they were jokers, they were jesters. Nobody took them seriously because they knew they were jokers and jesters. They scared you. They made you laugh. They entertained you. And the prophets were speakers, were tellers, were entertainers. The prophets were jesters. The prophets were jugglers. The prophets were minstrels. The word prophet back in the Bible days is the same thing as the word jester, the same thing as the word juggler, the same thing as the word minstrel. Just like a traveling circus in more ways than one. The high place is a very archaic and indefinite term in Hebrew. It describes a place of meeting. In context, it could very well mean a concert, a pub, or a public square where people gathered for music and enjoyment. The prophets were entertainers, and they still are. The prophets were jesters, and they still are. The prophets were jugglers, and they still are. The prophets were minstrels, and they still are. There's no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen. The text doesn't care what you think. The text tells you what it tells you. Now, they came down the road with a psaltery, a tabret, and a pipe, and a harp. This doesn't even need commentary. A tabret's like a tambourine. A pipe, no toker, not that kind of pipe. A pipe that you blow through, not suck in. You blow out on these, and it makes music. You know what a harp is. And they had these with them. The prophets had harps, they had pipes, they had tambourines, they had song books. It doesn't even need commentary. These are clearly instruments. And what did those prophets do with those instruments? They prophesied. And when you're using an instrument, what are you doing? You're playing it. This is prophesying. The writer tells the listener that he'd get caught up in the singing and playing himself, and that he'd begin to sing along. Do you really think they all started quoting Matthew 24? Do you think they all started quoting Revelation? Think they all started quoting Daniel? No, of course not. They all started singing and drinking and dancing and doing all those things that come along when you sing and you drink and you dance. And yet today, we believe these same jesters, these same jugglers, these same minstrels, and they're all a bunch of clowns, but we believe that they're giving us really, really important stuff. Thou shalt be turned into another man. It'll change your attitude, elevate you with joy, make you feel like a different man. That's what music does. That's what the song and dance does. The same old song and dance, right? This is all so easy. This is all so simple. This is all so clear that it is also very clear that the only reason that you would seek to question this is through willful ignorance on your own part. Willful ignorance where you choose to keep from seeing and accepting the absolute indefatigable truth that prophets are jesters, jugglers, and minstrels, always have been and always will be. But the joke is on you because you're believing clowns. It's willful ignorance combined with intentional deception, because these jesters, jugglers, minstrels, they do what they do. They entertain you, they bewitch you, they hypnotize you, they draw you in, and they realize that being prophets of the in the sense of the word now was more profitable than being singers and song and dance men and women. So now they're using intentional deception, and they're taking advantage of your willful ignorance. Now, if you've read this, if you've listened to this, if you've read this, and if you've listened to this, ladies and gentlemen, just a second, I got to yank something out of the chat room. If you've listened to this and you still think that the modern concept of Bible prophecy is legitimate, if you still think that the modern concept of Bible prophecy is legitimate, or that you or someone you follow is a prophet, then you are willfully ignorant or part of an intentional effort to deceive. The people calling themselves prophets are deceivers. The people calling themselves prophets are liars, and they know it. You should know it too. And if you continue to support them and continue to listen to them, then maybe you're the clown. Maybe you're the clown. Because the clowns know it. The clowns know it. Is this the real reason? And I'm being honest, ladies and gentlemen. Is this the real reason why so many people have an irrational fear of clowns? There doesn't seem to be any rational reason, and I've done a lot of reading about it because it kind of mesmerized me. Why would we be afraid of clowns? And I really don't need all the reasons why. I've read them and understand them. But is this really an underlying reason why, deep down in our blink, we're afraid of clowns? Because we understand that we've been clowned, and we've been taken, we've been had, and we've been sold by a group of clowns. This is why the church has to keep you dependent upon them. This is why the prophets have to keep you dependent upon them. Do you ever notice how I always tell you to unindoctrinate yourself? I always tell you how to empower yourself and how to get your own answers. I never tell you to come to me for answers. I never tell you to wait for my next broadcast for answers. That's what prophets do, because prophets want to keep you dependent upon them. If you do a little research, or if you listen to a little bit of my research every now and then, you will find out that all prophets, every single person today that says they're a prophet is a clown. Every single person today that says they're a prophet is a jester, a juggler, a minstrel. Every single person today that says they're a prophet is either incredibly deluded or being intentionally deceptive. 100%, no exceptions. They know. Now you know. Prophecy has always been the domain of jesters, jugglers, minstrels, jokers, and clowns. And it still is. How long will you continue to listen to? How long will you continue to participate? How long will you continue to fund the clown show? How long will you continue to fund their circus? And that's from Bye Bye Miss American Pie, isn't it? The jester stole his thorny crown, or something like that. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. That's very powerful. That's very interesting. And the reason why it has such relevance for us today is because, folks, the prophecy, it's a funny thing. My first 5-minute video over on Odyssey is going to be, isn't it crazy that Bible prophecy and communism end the same way? They end the same way. Fascinating, amazing, weird. It really is, ladies and gentlemen. It's fascinating. It's amazing. It's weird. And I'm downloading all of my videos onto a backup device, so they're there, and also so that, ladies and gentlemen, I can not lose them. And it just took forever, but this one just downloaded, and I'm so happy. It was a 4-hour program, but it was one with Wayne Steiger and it was one with Wayne Steiger and Heidi Vandenberg. So some of y'all will be happy to see that one someday. And finally, success on that. Well, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? So now we are into the part of the show that you all show up for, I think. The phone call time. And boy, somebody's Johnny on the spot or Jill on the spot. Let's see. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
I am. Hello?
You are. Hello.
All right. You didn't mention my name or anything.
You called me up on the phone, and somehow my psychic abilities weren't really turned on at that moment. So I wasn't really able to discern your name to be able to call you your name, since I don't know you, and you just called me out of the blue. I'm gonna, ooh, you're from Las Vegas. How's that? What's your name? What's on your mind?
I just figured I'd try and call you. I didn't even know if the phone lines were open already.
What's on your mind tonight? I'm glad that you called.
Oh, I saw on another platform some redacted papers about Chinese military being in Canada. And I know you posted about, you talked about the Navy being deployed on the East and West Coast.
Yeah.
I suppose maybe I've been wondering about the mask obsession, not the mask wearing protection. And do you think maybe they infiltrated among the populace right now?
No. As I said at the beginning of the show, there's no Chinese troops in Canada. There's no Chinese troops in Mexico. That is fear porn. That is scare porn. It's not real. And do you really think if a bunch of Chinese soldiers had on masks, COVID masks, do you really think that we wouldn't be able to tell that they were Chinese soldiers?
Well, I mean, they'd be not wearing uniforms. They'd be in just regular plain clothes. But the fact that they're doing cold weather exercise in Canada as we speak.
No, not as we speak. They've done them in the past. They're not doing them as we speak.
All right. Well, since I got you on, I have another point.
Okay. But I mean, do you understand that? Let's say that there was 50,000 Chinese troops in Canada. And let's say they all were craftily disguised behind COVID-19 masks. Do you really think that all of a sudden 50,000 people, 4'8", with black hair and yellow skin are going to be unnoticed because they got a mask on?
I don't know. I mean, I thought maybe that's what's going on.
Okay. I think maybe that's not what's going on, but that's all right. It's a free country for now. We can have disagreements. What else is on your mind tonight?
Yeah, I was talking to my confidant the other day, and you
were talking to what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
A confidant of mine.
Okay.
We discussed you constantly, but I've just gotten into you about a month ago. I've been watching your show almost every night, and
thank you.
You when you mentioned the blood cult. And I was thinking about, when Jesus was baptized in the river, maybe they were cleaning that off of his body.
Ooh, that's a really good thought.
Rivers, right?
That's a really good thought. Maybe that's why baptism came about, because you got to wash all the blood off of yourself. I'm writing that down.
Right.
So man.
You can't tell what he's been doing.
Oh, that is so good. And you know what? There is a lot in the text to back that up. It's starting to filter. When you did it for 20 years and you've been in the text for over 100,000 hours, it just starts. You have hit on something very, very powerful there. And I just want to use this as a segue. On Christmas Eve, we will have a show on Christmas Eve, and I'm going to be bringing one of the most powerful and horrifying messages I've ever given. It's called The 7 Places That Jesus Shed His Blood. It's going to have some of this in it. Thank you for making that even better. That's a great point. Do you have anything else on your mind?
That'll be it, man. I'll be talking to you soon.
Wow, I hope so. And, I understand that, we hear these things about Chinese troops, and then we hear that they were training, and you kind of want to put 2 and 2 together. I've got people all over China. I've got people all over Mexico. None of them have seen any 4'8" black-haired people wearing masks running around in groups and speaking in Mandarin. They haven't seen them. If they're there, they are very, very crafty. They're hiding very, very well. And even if there were 50,000 Chinese troops in Canada, they're not going to take over America. They wouldn't make it past. They wouldn't make it past Everett, Washington. We're locked and loaded. So I appreciate the call. That was some great information. I mean, it's not many times I write down an idea from a caller. You have really raised the bar. Thanks so much for calling in.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
You bet. Take care. And can I take a minute to pat myself on the back, and to pat Cynthia on the back, and to pat all of you on the back, and to recognize the effectiveness of the spiritual technologies that I'm employing? If that would have happened 90 days ago, that same call, you guys know what would have happened. I would have been triggered. I would have said things that I shouldn't have said, and I probably would have hung up. And we would have missed a brilliant man with a brilliant call. So what I'm saying is we're making progress here, and things are getting better. And we got another call. Thank you for holding. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
I am doing great. How are you tonight?
Todd from Arizona. How you doing?
Hey, Todd. Nice to hear you.
I want to talk about that lying false prophet, Mark Taylor.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is, but if he's a prophet, the lying false is redundant.
He's one of those guys, the Trump prophecies.
Oh, yeah.
He predicted Trump was coming. They're all on the bandwagon.
Yeah, the Trump click, subscriber, and money prophecies. I'm with you.
It's really bad. It's really pathetic. They're all on the same train. They're all listening to piggybacking off one another.
But there's a reason why they do that, and I'm sure you know this, but a lot of the listeners don't know. What they do, what's a very good plan when you don't really have any proof of anything, you have 6 or 8 guys and girls that work together, and they start citing one another as proof. So all of a sudden, you can manufacture quote-unquote proof by quoting websites and videos and statements by other people that's really with you. So you end up proving things that aren't true by quoting people that you are talking to and working with.
And it's really sad. It's sad.
It's pathetic. Yeah, you had it right the first time. It's pathetic. And it's sad because so many people get carried away by it. Every single day I don't get letters. I'm an old guy. I get emails and I get, messages of people that are freaking out because they heard something from one of these people that calls himself a prophet. And it makes me mad at the deceit. At the same time, it makes me sad for those that are being deceived.
You know where this all started? Kim Clement prophesied back in 2006 that Trump would become president, and all of these assholes. Sorry,
no,
use up English.
No, you can. This Late Night in the Heartland, you can do it.
All these guys piggybacked off what he said, and they turned it 33 degrees to their will,
right?
So they could get donations. That's all they did. Kim Clement, you know what? Good man. Good for him for prophesying it.
I don't want to stop you there, but is Kim Clement a legitimate prophet? The rods say no. I got problems with Kim Clement, but we'll talk about. I'm going to research, and we'll talk about that later.
I agree with you.
You don't have to. You're being polite. You're being interesting. Agreeing is not a requirement of a good call, but I appreciate that.
Love you, Jeff.
Is that it? You got nothing else for me?
Yeah, I got something for you if you want to hear it.
Give me one more thing. I want to hear it. I do. I'm writing down Kim Clement because I'm going to study.
On Monday here in Arizona, there was a raid by the FBI. I got a lot of backlash for that, for reporting it. And I went to my sources. There was 3 raids on Monday, 1 more on Wednesday in Maricopa County. You can take that for what it's worth.
That's where Phoenix is, right?
Absolutely. They're raiding all over down here, Jeff. I'm not a reporter. I don't have to reveal my sources. Your audience can decide if they want to believe me or not.
If you were to speculate, and we're just speculating here, we're just talking over coffee. If you were to speculate what those raids are about, what would your speculation for entertainment purposes only be?
I don't know, but I've seen more military over the skies than I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm really excited about it.
You and me both, brother. You and me both.
I'm going down. I can only speculate. I got pictures on my phone for proof.
Yep. And if you ever want to send those my way, you can email them to me, Jeffrey@jeffreydaugherty.com, or GothamLikeBatmanLTD@gmail.com. I'd love to see them. And you're right. Something is about to happen, and it's going to involve the military, and it's going to be a little messy, but I could not be more excited. And what's going down?
One more thing if you have time.
Yeah, I do. But what's going down is Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and the Democrats and the Republicans.
Kelly Ward is convincing the state legislators to revolt against Doug Ducey and turn away from him certifying the election.
Beautiful, beautiful.
They're going to do it. I think they're going to do it. I had a little information tonight. I'm not a reporter.
Yep.
I don't care for it.
You are a great independent journalist, though, in my opinion. So yes, I agree with you. I mean, let's ask the rods again. Is Arizona going to end up sending different electors? And the rods say yes. I think you're right on, my friend. I think you're right on.
I would never give you false information. I don't have time for it.
I believe it, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling in, and I hope that you call in often because your information is great, and I appreciate hearing from you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Man, this is a smoking show, ladies and gentlemen. It just gets better and better. I mean, it was good from the beginning, but man, it's getting even gooder and gooder. Thank you for holding. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Oh, hello. Just a quick call from Oregon. My name is Reed.
It looks like Eastern Oregon, right?
Yeah, Eugene.
Oh, okay.
Or sorry,
Western Oregon. I thought 541 was just for. I lived in Eastern Oregon, and that was my zip code or my area code. I didn't realize it went over to Eugene as well. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it goes all across Oregon. I just want to make a quick point about the Jesters.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about earlier, who play the harps.
Right.
Another English word for harp is lyre, L-Y-R-E.
Mm-hmm. Bingo.
I think English is important.
That is so brilliant. They played the liars. They are liars.
The liars play the liars.
Wow, that is powerful. I wish you'd have called before I did that presentation because that would have been even better. Wow, powerful. Thank you so much for that. That was fantastic. Tonight, I mean, I'm just getting educated and I appreciate it. What else is on your mind?
I think that's it. Just a quick call.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And you know what else I was thinking? Who else plays harps? Angels. I'm telling you, folks, there's not really angels either. I know that's going to upset a lot of you. But you're always looking for these fairies and these things outside of you to help you and protect you. Do it yourself. You're way more powerful than you think that you are. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, I got to turn down my machine to help.
Okay.
I got you now.
You do.
All right. Well, I just want to reinforce what you said about liars and jesters and all that.
Okay.
Because I've called you. I've talked to you a couple times. I did prison ministry for years. Okay, and we'd go in prisons with a group of 40 guys, and we would sit and we would sing and we would be happy and jovial and run back and forth, and everybody was, happy, and we'd feed them things that they didn't get. It was brainwashing. It was absolute brainwashing. And in order for you to get qualified to go in to do this, you had to go through it yourself. Okay, and now that I see you, thank you, sir, for all the great things that you've brought me over the probably 10 years I've been listening to you.
Thank you.
That is one of the things that I just, it was just like a revelation tonight when you said they were all liars. Well, I was one of them. I was good at it too, I'll tell you what.
Me too. I was good at it to the tune of 6 figures a year.
Right. Well, I did it for free, but I'll tell you what, doesn't matter. I was doing the wrong thing and didn't know it.
But let me just say this about your service. There's still something to be said, even though the motivation might have been wrong and the information might have been wrong. You were still bringing comfort and hope and peace to people that were in a really bad situation. So I wouldn't completely beat myself up for it. Your fellowship, your encouragement, your food, your fun was certainly well received by the people that are incarcerated in such an environment.
Oh, absolutely. And they appreciated and loved it and loved me. I still have great friends behind the walls. But now that I've gone out and actually learned something, thanks to you and your ministry, I guess that's what I call it here, I can't go back in. They won't let me back in because they want me to sign a waiver that says I believe the Bible is the spoken word of God, or God breathed, and I just don't believe that in.
Maybe one day you'll get to the place where you'll be able to say within yourself, "Oh, that's just a piece of paper. I want to go help these guys out," and I don't think it'd be the end of the world if you did that. But I understand where you're at, and I respect your convictions, and I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard for me to do one and not do the other because I don't think I could sit there and sell them Jesus when I don't buy them now.
Oh, no, you couldn't sell them Jesus, but you could bring in some cupcakes and stuff, play a little checkers.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was always good, and it's always good to talk to you, and thank you for all you do and for you bringing the mail, brother. You are the mailman.
I appreciate it. I do what I do, and I do it better than anybody else. I'm the only one really that does what I do, so I guess I do it worse than anybody too, but we don't talk about that. I'm the best in the world at what I do. Le Champion. Boy, I saw a picture of Chris Jericho today. He's outpacing me on the fitness, and he's got me motivated to kick it up another notch. Chris, you're doing a great job. The reason I mention that is when I met Chris Jericho, I don't know, Cynthia could tell you, maybe 6-7 months ago, and we both were about the same size. We were both a little paunchy. And then next time I see Chris Jericho, I'm like, damn, he's almost ripped. And then I saw his picture. I should show the picture. He is ripped. So I'm like, you know what? If Jericho can do it, I can do it. We're the same size. We're the same weight. If he can do it, I can do it. So thanks to Chris Jericho, the true Le Champion, for helping to inspire this one. It's Late Night in the Heartland, and you're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey. This is Svetlana.
Svetlana, nice to hear from you tonight.
Good topic. I thought I agree with you that those prophets were saying that they are prophets is the complete liars and bullshitters. But have you ever tried a remote viewing yourself?
Have I ever tried what?
A remote viewing.
I'm having a hard time hearing that word you're saying. You're a little bit low in volume. Have I ever tried doing what myself?
A remote viewing.
Yes, I have done a considerable amount of remote viewing, and I have this little tickle in the back of my mind that says I need to do more of it. Talk to me about remote viewing, and I have an idea, a hunch that you have done it and can be quite proficient at it.
Well, remote viewing, that's pretty much the most accurate prophecy. You're going to achieve the most accurate viewing of the future.
I would agree with you 100%.
And the way you're actually seeing stuff, you're not describing stuff in words. You're most likely doing stuff in images.
Right.
You draw the picture. So
Right.
Actually connecting to your higher self, to your own spirit, and getting information, because your own spirit operates outside of the time.
It does.
It has information about the future. So you're able to actually tap in the most probable future and get information out.
That's a great point, and I think you're right on with that. I think it's very accurate, and you're right. If you want to talk about knowing the future or knowing things that you don't have the ability to actually view physically, if you can remote view, it can be very, very helpful. And I guess it is what people think of when they think of prophecy. I would agree with you 100%.
And also about the second part of the topic, the jokers, jesters, and clowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a real thing. If you consider this reality being how reality is physical and how reality is non-physical, so all those entities, all those spirits who cannot collapse into the physical world, they still exist. They're still able to think. They're still able to play out. They're still able to communicate. And the people who on near-death experiences seeing those entities as a jokers, actually.
Oh, interesting.
People in DMT communities, people in LSD communities, they're describing exactly the same entities. And also people who have schizophrenia, they actually can see them.
Interesting.
In and out, in and out from this dimension to non-physical dimension, and they're able to see them and they're able to communicate with them.
Do you think that most of these jesters, minstrels, jugglers, prophets, do you think that most of them have been controlled by such entities?
Everyone who is in physical body can be, and in fact is possessed from time to time. For example, people who ingesting alcohol, that's why alcohol called spirits of jinn.
Yep.
So you actually get influenced by those entities, and certain thoughts being implanted in your mind by those entities. Yes, it's actually that's happening.
I agree.
Those entities, they also operating outside of time and space, and they have sick imagination. So for them, it's actually literally knowing what this reality is. For them, it is a joke. And the more you get hurtful here, they're just laughing their asses off.
Absolutely.
You know?
Great stuff, Svetlana. I appreciate you calling in tonight.
Over here, it's not only on alcohol you get possessed. When you get really angry, you also, like, the emotions of, when you calm, they cannot possess you. But when you're too pissed off or too scared, you're actually prone to possession. Or not possession, but they're going to be able to implant thoughts into your mind.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I appreciate the call, Svetlana. It's always good to hear from you, and that was a really good one. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey Daugherty. I was listening to your show about prophets being clowns and entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about something, and I hope I don't open up a can of worms and you get strange calls, but I just felt like I need to talk about this.
Okay.
Because it kind of ties into what you're saying. But there was this guy, his name is Harry Walter, and he talked about how Christianity would start sexualizing their belief and calling it the Church of Sex. What do you think? Do you think that will come one day and it really will get bad?
Pardon the pun. It already kind of has. I had the unfortunate experience of going to PTL one time and being invited to engage in those type of activities. So there's always been a lot of illicit. There's always been a lot of wife swapping, swinging, abuse of young people in Christianity. And it's not just a few bad people. It's built in to the religion. And I think that it's always been there, but what may in fact happen is they're going to start getting busted more and more, and we're going to be able to see more and more. And I think you're right. As you look around, you even look at the way some of the lady preachers dress and the way people that go to church dress and the way the men pastors dress.
Paula White being one of them.
Oh, Paula White. I mean, Paula White gives whores a bad name.
Yeah, for real.
And Tracy says this, and it's true, and I've been there and done that women are like groupies around ministers, especially evangelists. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
And didn't Paula White have an affair with Benny Hinn?
Well, let's just say they spent several nights together in a hotel and were seen walking around holding hands and kissing each other all the time. So unless they were studying the Bible all night long, I think they were having some they knew each other in the biblical term. Let's just say that.
Yeah. We ain't dumb. We know what's going on.
Absolutely. We know. Hey, I appreciate the call. That was a good one. We're on a roll tonight with the calls. Let's keep it going. We need to take a break pretty quick, but let's go ahead and move on. Late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey. Jeff from South Carolina here.
Well, nice to talk to you, Jeff.
Thank you. Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Doing a little fasting myself, and
good for you.
Broke into some research tonight on Kerry Mullis, inventor of the PCR test.
Oh, yes. Talk to us.
So back in, I guess, the 80s, a little bit before my time, the HIV, hoax was going on, where they were telling people, HIV causes AIDS and this and that. And Kerry Mullis was one of the few outspoken doctors that was talking about how the tests were being misinterpreted. And he
Interesting.
made it clear that it wasn't a misuse of PCR because it's designed to amplify something very minuscule into something very measurable.
Okay.
And he said they're being misinterpreted as diagnosing viral loads for HIV patients. Would convince the patient to take AZT chemotherapy developed by.
Yeah, you're breaking up on us a little bit. We're missing some of your words, but I think I'm following you so far. And are you gonna do we make we gonna make a comparison or analogy or a transfer over to the the stupid 19 testing now?
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. The stupid 19 testing, they healthy people, they're encouraging healthy people to go get tested, and amplifying some big little fragment into measurable levels.
Yeah, people that are not showing symptoms should not be tested. All of the virologists that are independent and not having to speak the way they need to speak to get paid are unanimous on that subject. If you don't show symptoms, you shouldn't get tested.
Agreed, 100%.
And it's just ridiculous. But we know the reason why they're doing the tests is because when they do all these tests, they can say all these people are positive, and they call that cases. Nobody's dying any more than they did in the last 5 years, but now we've got all these cases, and they can continue to ratchet up the fear. Do you think there's anything else to it other than that? I mean, do you have any other insights for us you'd like to share?
I guess, I'm just seeing the parallel, how it's kind of repeating itself, and I haven't paid attention to pandemics or, viral things.
Me either.
Past, but looking back on it, it seems like they've tried this so many times with the swine flu, with the anthrax, with the H1N1, with HIV, with AIDS, and I'm wondering if how much longer they're going to make this COVID thing. But I think their goal, the whole world.
I think you're right, and that was a great call. We just have to be diligent. We just have to say no. I'm not going to be tested. No, I'm not going to stay home. No, I'm not going to close my business. And when enough of us do it, they can't jail us all. Plus, they're making big money on the testing, as Tracy reminds us. And that is so true. Thank you for calling. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeff. This is John in Tulsa.
Hey, John. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. You got a good show tonight.
It's a good one, isn't it? Thank you.
Yeah, this stuff that came out today, boy, I'm telling you what, this is, I don't know how to, I didn't get to hear all your show to start with, but that plus the fact that they're shutting your stuff off, you're trying to save your videos, it just, man, it upsets me.
You know, it really upsets me too, but the more I look and the more I study and the more I look into this, I can understand, and I don't want to get you off your point, but YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they know that it's almost over for them. I'm telling you, this decentralized blockchain, peer-to-peer social media is right on the edge, and I think people like us can help push it into the mainstream. They're afraid. The world as they know it is over. They seem like they're in charge, but they're just about to lose it all. What else is on your mind, John?
I want to just quickly ask you, did you ever see a website or go to it, Lorraine Day? You ever heard of her?
I have not ever heard of Lorraine Day.
Okay, she wrote a book called Who Rewrote the Bible and Why. And I think that was about the King James and all that stuff. But anyway.
Right.
Yeah, she had the same story that you do about the Germans and the concentration camps and the limbs.
Right.
Same stuff. And she was a nurse in San Francisco or somewhere and treated people with AIDS and stuff. And she finally got bored. She got out of it and got into natural healing and stuff like that. And she had breast cancer and healed herself from that. But anyway, I checked her out when my son was sick with cancer and everything. That's why I went down to Mexico and went through that particular type of therapy, and it did help him a bunch. But he was a goner from the beginning, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, we talked about that the last time I was on the show.
We did.
But, yeah, but anyway, I'm going to hop on that. What do you think is going to happen with these states? What's the gist of these 16 states or 17 right now? Are they going to overturn this election by going before the Supreme Court, or how's that going to work? Do you have any idea? I mean,
well, it's very fascinating, and I was convinced that it'd be a military solution, but this has me rethinking because, and I listened to actually overheard, Cynthia was listening. She likes to listen to the X22 report. They got kicked off of YouTube, but they're operating off of their own website, and they give great information. And X22 report very astutely pointed out that if you take the states, including Texas, and I think it's now 7 or 8 other states that have already, just those 7 or 8 states that have joined Texas in this suit, and it's such a strong suit according to the original intention of the Constitution, and with that conservative, original intention Supreme Court, we have it. It's very, very possible that what would happen is they would honor the Texas suit and they would nullify the electoral votes of the states involved in the suit. And right now, if they nullify the electoral votes of the states that are involved in the suit, it would take Joe Biden from 303 to 244, I believe. So it drops him below the threshold needed to be elected president of the United States. So that, to me, is better than 50-50 that it's going to happen.
Can I throw a couple more things in real quick?
Please.
I think that, oh God, I'm getting too old. I'm off my train.
That's all right.
Yeah. I'm gone.
Well, if you remember,
you got a lot of calls backed up.
If you remember, call me back. Thanks, John. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I'm going to take advantage of this break in the calls, and we're going to go ahead and do our commercial. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to give you some opportunity to be able to, if this is going to work for me, to be able to see some great things from some great people. And I am going to take care of a little bit of personal business, and we'll be right back with more of your calls right after I get finished with this. I got to make a little bit of adjustment here and a little bit of an adjustment there. And now we're ready to go. It's Late Night in the Heartland, and we'll be back right after this with your calls. And we've got almost an hour to rock on, ladies and gentlemen.
My Daily Choice brings together the house of brands so you can market a diversified portfolio of products and capitalize on the newest trends in the hottest industries. Instead of being locked into just one industry, you get to participate in all of them. Starting with Hempworx, one of the most popular brands in the booming CBD industry. From farm to extraction to bottling, Hempworx puts a premium line of hemp oil, topicals, hair and skincare, and lifestyle products in your hands. Then there's Mantra Essential Oils, the soul-enriching line of essential oils, essential oil blends, and botanical fragrances that give your customers a variety of ways to align their senses and enhance their health and wellness routines. For those who can't sit still, there's High Life Travel, the members-only travel booking portal with deeper discounts than the major booking sites. High Life Travel actually pays every time you or your preferred customers book flights, hotels, rental cars, homes, and experiences in the world's most desirable locations. Daily Sprays, the pocket-sized sprays that nourish the body with a concentrated dose of nutrients. Daily Sprays blend the best of technology and nutrition to equip your business with a simple yet potent line of effective supplements. And finally, Akashics is the ultimate cryptocurrency learning tool with comprehensive lessons for every level of expertise. It is an all-in-one solution that includes digibank, in-depth market research, economic calendars, signals, and social trading. Discover all of the exciting products and business opportunities available to you with My Daily Choice and become an affiliate today.
I'll tell you what, as far as that High Life Travel goes, Cynthia and I looking to go down and see Marco down there in the Cancun area. And I looked on some of this stuff, cheap Caribbean tours and these discount sites and found out what I thought was some good deals. Man, I went on to High Life Travel and wow, it really is cheaper than Captain Kirk can give you. So if you do these things or if you want to be involved in these as business, do it through your Christian Whistleblower. I'll treat you better than Captain Kirk. I promise. Just go to whistleblowercbd.com, whistleblowercbd.com. That's my website. And you can just get your stuff. It is Christmas time. Or if you decide that you want to get more involved, then just let me know. It's Late Night in the Heartland. Thanks for calling. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
All right.
Sound like Matthew McConaughey. All right.
So, regarding the whole topic of the prophecy thing and what's going on today.
Yep.
So I am dissecting this topic from a different angle.
Okay.
And that is if you think about how human psychology has patterns and certain vices that we have. Why vices being lazy? So
yep.
if someone else pokes at our weak spots, we can be manipulated into certain patterns.
Ooh.
And those, and today we have noticed the Juggle and Facebook using AI to
create and predict human patterns, and the same thing happened a long time ago, but maybe not on such a present scale as today. And being that we could be manipulated into patterns, all they have to do is think of the pattern, how the end game of the pattern would be, and how to poke people, poke here, poke there, poke here, poke there, and then guide us to the end game.
Yep.
And then tell the regular people, oh, it's just prophecy, you know?
Yep. You're right, Joe. You're 100% right. And I appreciate that.
That's what I came up with.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. And we got, and that's one of the things that I'm working on is not being prodded, not responding when I'm poked and prodded. So great call, Joe. Thanks. Thank you for holding. It's late night in the heartland, and turn me down so I can hear you.
Oh, Jeff, is this you? Am I on with you? Is it okay to talk right now?
It is. You are.
My brother from another mother. I would love to finally get a chance to talk to you. This is great. I'm from the depths and pits of anus of Washington, close to Sodom, just so you know. But I'm on the outskirts, about as far as way I can get away and still drive to and from work. But
right.
I'm about 2 episodes or 3 episodes away from the current one today. So I just wanted a couple of things to talk to you about. Like, I'm kind of stuck in the middle of, I've been doing so much research, man. My name's Joe, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
I've been following you for a long time. I'll tell you right now, from a long time ago, my brother sent me an episode. This was back when I was doing a lot of stuff, like researching, Bible study stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember which episode it was, but I was like, oh God, this guy is just one of those zeitgeist guys. And I was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was an episode that I was like, oh God, whatever. He might have some good points, but he's one of those guys. And I was turned off by it. And then later, after more and more truth research that I finally got to, I got to another one from you. I was like, oh my God, this guy's got it. He's become my best research person that I've totally switched completely from where I was at before. And it's very powerful because this is like, it's like coming right out and saying, oh, okay, I'm going to announce worldwide that Jesus, my savior, is a fucking fraud. It's like, oh my God, how hard is that to say? It's like, is lightning going to strike me down? It's like, well, wait a minute.
The more you say it, the easier it gets.
Yes, dude. And it's like, just got it, dude. This guy's got it. And you know what? I've tried to, I tried to bring this to my mom.
Oh boy.
Oh my God, this. Okay. You know the whole story, right? Right.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to show her the Jesus and Alien, the little, the videos where you got 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Or like, it's the
little
whatever.
Playlist.
And she's like, man, yeah, the playlist. And she's like, man, this guy's great. Da, 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 da. And then all of a sudden she starts watching more on her own. And then she gets to one where you say something about the fucking guy, the Scientologist guy. And she's like,
L. Ron Hubbard.
He's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, Mom, you gotta just listen to what he's saying and don't get caught up on little things. And it's like, I tried to tell her, I was like, hey, look, he says that you could be the biggest scumbag in the world, but that doesn't mean that something that this guy has got is actually good information. Just don't worry about the rest of it. there could be something, there could be some gold within everyone. Whatever, Jeffrey Dahmer, some bad guy could have actually some good information. Don't discredit everything from everyone because of your judgmental point of view, right?
Yeah, and you know when Jeffrey
every day.
Dahmer's mom came over to his house for dinner, and Jeffrey says, "Well, how are you feeling today, Mom? Are you enjoying dinner?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm enjoying dinner, but I really don't like your neighbors." And he says, "That's okay, Mom. Just eat the vegetables."
See, okay, so this has all been great, but I mean, she's very stubborn, very stubborn. I tried to get her to watch David Paulides and then the How to Hunt guy with the Bigfoot, you know, Steve.
Oh yeah,
Oh my God, the first couple of videos, she's like, "I don't like it. It's not mainstream production. It's fucking shitty recording." And I'm like, "Mom, just listen to the message." And then eventually I was like, just get to the end of the video. Can you please just listen to the message? And then finally, after the 2-hour little recording, she's like, "Oh my God, I love this guy." She's been watching him ever since. So it's very hard to get through to my mom, but okay, so she's been listening to you ever since I turned her on right before the whole, this communist Flemish takeover that we've been dealing with, right? For basically since what, the day that we voted, right? You know?
Yeah.
So she's been listening every day, and she's like, "I'm only listening so that I can learn and stay up on top of everything because, you know, JTube shut down everybody that's speaking truth, right? Except for the couple people that are left." So she's been listening every day ever since then. So it's been like, what, 20 days or something? So she's been listening.
Well, good for her, and I appreciate it.
She's learning. Yes.
Excellent. Well, tell her to keep coming back. We need more moms listening. I'm sorry to cut you off. I kind of had to. We got to move on. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
This is Mr. Kilville, and I have a quick question for you, Rod.
Okay.
Is Urantia a flat plane concept?
Is Urantia a flat plane concept? That's interesting. Is Urantia a flat plane concept? The rods say, yeah, pretty much. Are you talking about the Urantia book?
Exactly.
Man, I have tried to read. I got the Urantia book, and it wasn't cheap. It's a big, beautiful book. I've tried to read it no less than 10 times, and it is the most boring thing I've ever read since the Book of Mormon. I just can't get into it, man.
It is rough, and I just got some quick topics real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save that for last because I wasn't here. I just want to say, you know, Texas. I want to congratulate Texas for being the historic glory, you know, it's the historical glory of America, especially now.
Texas has been a great state at all, and with great people, no doubt.
Because we're in a serious mid game right now.
And they may, you know what? This just hit me, but you know, the Republic of Texas may end up saving the Republic.
They may, yes, because like I said, they might be that rook or that queen that made that power move, and it's like check.
Remember the Alamo.
Exactly, and I just want to ask you just a quick question. What is your take on conscious auto-suggestion?
Tell me what that is, and I'll give you a take.
Okay. For example, and I'm pretty sure it's one of my moderators had beat me to it. For example, like every day and every way, I'm getting better and better.
Yeah. Well, you know, if they're, you know, I've always said, and I picked this up from Anthony Robbins a long, long time ago because it's true. The words that you use are either wrecking balls or building blocks for the life that you want to live. Actually, that's not what Anthony Robbins said. Anthony Robbins said the quality of your, that is true, but Anthony Robbins said the quality of your life can be measured in the questions that you ask yourself. So if your affirmations, your mantras, your cognitive auto suggestions, if they're good, if they're empowering, then I'm all for them. They're fantastic. You just got to make sure that you don't have one that says, why am I so fat? Because that's a very disempowering question. That'll get you nothing but bad answers. But I think it's if more people used them, it'd be a better world.
And one last thing. I just want to remind all the listeners to don't just protect yourself from that conglomerate of consciousnesses, that tulpa, the conglomerate of consciousnesses.
Yes.
Because it's a very black, ugly, messed up energy of different parts of different bodies and what have you. You know, it's really ugly. So it's uglier than the devil is himself.
Interesting,
devil,
right?
But so I'm out. Thank you for taking this call.
I appreciate it. I just saw a really interesting comment in the chat room from Alan Kistler, who cracks me up because he's not wearing a shirt. But Ted Cruz supposedly said that Texas is bigger than Alaska and the map makers are lying. That to me is really, really interesting. Idaho has a lot of corruption. A lot of it has to do with the LDS Church and Mitt Romney's cronies. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Well, Jeff, I remember what I was going to
I knew you would. What's up?
I want to tell this story. This is a true story about religion. And I went to, I'm not going to name the name of the church or anything. But,
okay.
I went to a bishop and I asked him, I said, I read in the Old Testament where God every year would bring out, have the people, they would get the doubt, and he would have them bring out a rod called Aaron's rod out of the Ark of the Covenant.
Yep.
And show it to the people and stand before them, and that rod would bloom flowers off of it.
Yeah, it would grow almonds,
every
actually.
year. Yeah. And that's how they kept the people from wanting to go back to Egypt again and all that stuff, because the Aaronic priesthood holders wouldn't come out and do that.
And I mean, that could easily have been magic, right?
Oh, sure, it's magic.
Yeah.
Anyway, this particular church had what they call the Aaronic priesthood.
Right.
So I go into the bishop and I said, hey, I want to read this story to you out of the Bible. And I read it to him and I said, you know, all these gold plates and everything, I'm having a little trouble believing in them because the angel took them back, and I'm getting a little doubts here about all this stuff. I said, when are you going to bring the Aaron's rod out and let me look at that thing bloom? And I'd like to see that. And I said, well, you've got the Aaronic priesthood, right? He said, yeah. I said, that's what God said to do.
Wow.
And I had one more later. I asked a question too, that they believed that Jesus and Jehovah was the same being.
Right.
And that Jesus was born on a planet to a spirit father, Jehovah.
Oh, nice.
The planet Kolob. And anyway,
right.
I asked him, I said, well, let me ask you this. If he was born on that planet and you said Jesus is a creator and he was God and created all things, how could he create a planet that he was born on?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
So, you know, if you got to have a little bit of consciousness when you start getting into religion, you can get hypnotized just going into church, man.
You can, and you gotta keep,
get your mind open.
You do. Think. Absolutely. Great call, John. I appreciate you from down there in Tulsa. And, you know, is Oklahoma an island of sanity, or is it going the way of everybody else?
Oh, they're nuts here too. I'm telling you, we got some of them that aren't, but it's you know. But we voted. Oklahoma voted for Trump.
Good.
You know, so we got some common people here. They're pretty smart for common people. But anyway, we also got some that are just believe everything they hear on the news. So
yeah, like everywhere else.
Go, man.
All right, thanks, John. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, I've read some good stuff about Oklahoma. I was hoping there'd be a bastion of freedom left. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, this is Joe. I lost you for a second, but I wanted to ask my main question was,
okay.
So I've been having a hard time learning of everything that I've been getting to, where is the decipher between the Lems and the Jesuits? Because what I've been pretty much learning that the Jesuits are behind like everything. That is your deep state, Illuminati, you know, the bad guys. But where is the Lems? Are they basically everybody is a Jesuit, but they're pretending to be a Lem because they're this?
No, it's the other way
people that we can't
around.
even speak of?
The Jesuits are actually Protestant Lems.
Okay.
The Jesuits
so
are just the
basically, no
Protestant
matter what-
extension of the Lems.
So this is where we're at. That these are who we're dealing with, and it's kind of the other way around.
Right.
That it is the Lems. They are the untouchables. But wasn't it?
It's the Lems under the
Jesuits that
Sanhedrin.
created this?
No, actually, again, you got it right. But remember who created the Jesuits? That was the Lems again. So it's all goes back to the same source.
So remember, okay, the other video, I forget the girl's name. Actually, I think it was about a year ago. She was talking about the Tuatha De Danann.
Yep.
And well, I've learned all this from the other people that were talking about that, but they were basically the leftover race of the Atlantis. They landed, is what I'm gathering, in roughly Ireland. And then from there, they were the beings that possibly were the giants that created the whole worldwide Tartarian empire.
Those are my ancestors. Those are
Yes.
my ancestors.
Yes. And so now Rome, or the Lems, took what they did with their good, like religion-ish stuff, and then they converted into a control system, which created Christianity and Lemish and Catholicism. And that from there is this control system we're in, because they're using the good stuff but used it as a bad way to make it a control system. But they took all of this from an existing thing, which I'm gathering was from like the remnant of the Atlantean Empire.
They hijacked morality and have holding it hostage as their own unique possession when nothing could be farther from the truth.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to come to us for us to give you what you should have already had, and they use it as a control system, basically.
Yep, absolutely. So you got to come to them to save you from the sin they gave you. They invented the sin, and they're the ones that, invented it, and it's not real. So they've got you coming to them to forgive you for the sin that they gave you. That's why I call it a fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix. And remember, Tracy makes a good point. Catholic just means universal. It's designed to be the one world religion. Where do the Zoroastrians fit in? I think they lost the fight and they got taken over. The Zoroastrians were very close. In fact, Paul, the apostle, the false Paul, was from the same area that Zoroaster was from, which I found very, very interesting. They both hated women, by the way. Wow. It's been a good night, and we don't get a lot of breaks. But I tell you what, folks, I forget who had led me into this, but the more I study and the more I'm looking, and I thought I would have it completed by tonight, but I won't. It'll probably be Monday before I can roll out my master plan. But folks, we've been programmed to think, oh no, it's so terrible. We're going to lose YouTube. Oh no, it's so terrible. We're going to lose Twitter. We're going to lose Facebook. And it used to terrify me to think about losing Facebook YouTube because I was making my living off of YouTube. And I got to the place where it was almost like when I was a preacher again, you're terrified to leave the church if you're a preacher because who's going to pay for your stuff? And I was kind of terrified to leave YouTube, but I found out when YouTube left me, they demonetized me back in May. I found out that YouTube is not my provider. YouTube is not the one that gave me this mission, and YouTube is not in a position to take this mission away from me. There's great technology out there, and we're right on the cusp of it. And I found 3 people. You've got Justin's son and the Tron, and what's his? I forget his name of his platform. Oh boy! But anyway, you know what I'm talking. We'll talk about it in more depth. Then you've got LBRY, which is good guys that are out there. They're Americans at least. Justin makes you wonder a little bit because he's from China. I know the CCP's mad at him, and he's a black sheep, but still it makes you wonder a little bit. Theta is, I believe, his platform. Is it Theta? No, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And then there's one called Theta, but I don't know if they're going to let me on. But the point of the matter is that YouTube's days are numbered anyway, and YouTube was trying to make us think that we got to do everything we can to stay with YouTube. YouTube's days are numbered, ladies and gentlemen. YouTube's days are numbered. It was going away anyway. And now we get the chance to leave them instead of them leaving you. And you know how it is. If you know somebody's going to break up with you, you break up with them first, right? I'm just trying to be silly, but it's really a good thing. It's an empowering thing. We think that we need YouTube, and YouTube is getting scared because they know that we're just about to find out that YouTube's just about to find out that we're finding out that we don't need them. And if YouTube ended tonight, we'd be okay tomorrow and going forward. I love the YouTube platform. I love the people that it allows me to reach. But guess what? If YouTube goes away tomorrow, the Christian Whistleblower will still be there the day after and the day after and the day after and the day after. We're not going anywhere. Nowhere. And we're going to be part of building a great new platform. We've all been bitching and moaning that we need a new platform, but none of us went and did anything about it until now. Now we know we got to get a new platform going, and we're going to be part of the people that get it going, and we're going to be part of the people that share in the bounty of getting it going, and that bounty can be measured in many different ways. Like Carmen says, we don't need the stinking badges. We don't need them. It's nice. It's really nice. But sometimes going it the hard way is going it the best way. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll have some more great information coming up on Monday. And I think I'll be able to roll out the master plan for you on Monday. And it's a great plan. And I know, like I said yesterday, some of you won't be able to follow where I'm going. You just won't want to, and that's okay. But we're all going to be able to make it's an exciting time. I've never been more excited. I've never been more optimistic, and I've never been more full of faith and hope for the future. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. YouTube is nothing without the people. And I'll project the negativity. YouTube is a bunch of communists. And they are restricting the freedom, and they're violating their own covenant. So shame on you, YouTube. Shame on you, YouTube. Shame on you, YouTube. The lines are still open, 913-279-0831. 913-279-0831. It's late night in the Heartland. We're here every night, Monday through Friday, from 10 until midnight on the Central Time Zone. And we're here bringing you the information and hopefully bringing you information that'll help you unindoctrinate yourself We already talked about the John Roberts that we think it very well could be. Very, very well could be. We read this one yesterday about the stay-at-home from the mask from Tracy, and we showed the craziness of the doctor or the Chicago lady from yesterday. So nothing new there. I saw something interesting that just went through. Something that Brandon says BitChute starting to censor content. I haven't seen that yet. And BitChute, we had a great call. They called in last night and said BitChute is blockchain. Well, BitChute's trying to be blockchain, or BitChute is lying about being blockchain. I'm not sure which one because I don't have enough expertise to know. But allegedly, BitChute just says it's blockchain, but it's not really blockchain. And when you've got Brandon saying it and you got Tracy saying that it's starting to censor, even though I haven't personally encountered it, I've got to believe that it's probably beginning to censor. I am very, very excited about, is it library or is it just LBRY? I'm very, very excited about LBRY. Very excited about LBRY. They are very, very powerful. I think they've got it together. I don't know if they're capitalized enough to get it together. They don't have the money that Justin Sun has, but they do have a crypto. And maybe if they could get some more activity in that crypto, it would give them the base, the currency they need to get the rest of their base built out. But the LBRY or library, somebody tell me if it's library or LBRY. Library is how you say LBRY. Okay, thank you. So library is awesome. I like it. They moved my whole channel over, man. Just like that. Library's there. And they give you crypto for loading up stuff. So I got this crypto now, and I can do some stuff. But anyway, library is great. And I think that Odyssey, which interestingly enough was Justin Sun's name for his second part of his project, and library used it for the second part of their project. So there's a little competition going on. I like that. Competition makes people better. But I think the Odyssey, which is set up to be kind of like a TikTok or a QB, whatever competitor, these 5-minute hard-hitting videos are going to be powerful too. And it's going to be fun. It's ODYSEE. You should be able to find it. Just go ahead and type it in. It's really good stuff. And I'm very excited about them. Also, the Theta.tv looks really good. It looks like it's more set right now to, Library and Odyssey are the same company. Theta.tv, and I like Theta, because Theta is what we are outside of this body. Theta TV, but it looks like it's a little more set to gaming right now. And I'm trying that you have to go on to Twitter and put in, please somebody give me a stream key. They make it competitive, which is a brilliant strategy. But I'm hoping they'll let me in. And I went right up and let them know who I was, because Theta TV would be very powerful too. And they've got a very strong cryptocurrency, which is very, very interesting. So anyway, Tron, that's Justin Sun's. It's very strong. Theta, very, very strong. The one that's with LBRY, I can't remember the name of it. It's I'm a little confused because it says it's weak. Odyssey will have live streams. Ooh, that'll be great, Francois. They say that the library coin is weak, but the numbers are exactly like Tron. So I don't get how one could be weak and one could be strong. Maybe it's just, I'm not an investor, so I don't know, but it looks pretty good to me. And if Odyssey has live streams, I might leave YouTube before they leave me. They're not paying me no more. They suspended me on May 7th. They're still running ads. Is Jeff getting any of his money? No. And sooner or later, if the pimp don't start paying, the hoe gonna walk the hell away. I go hoe for myself. Ain't gonna keep hoeing for YouTube. But the problem is YouTube has got all the traffic. YouTube got all the people coming and looking at it. YouTube people that, people on YouTube would never see me on them other places. D Live. I don't know anything about D Live, Pissed Off American. Talk to me about D Live. I think that is Son too, isn't that Justin's son as well? But the point is, there's some good stuff. If you go to Odyssey, you get a link for a live stream. SC is on there all the time. Live streaming, really? Really? Odd. Oh, do I have to? I don't know if that's from. No, that's not from the Theta people. I can go to Odyssey. Ooh, I'm going to look that up. Odyssey live stream. See? We're doing it here, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting things going. We're going to be fine. That's the bottom line. We're going to be fine. D Live doesn't host a video for more than 3 days. What? That's crap. Somebody says D Live is devil letters. What the hell does that mean? What are devil letters? There ain't no devil. How could the devil have any letters? Devil letters. Pissed Off America thinks that D Live works pretty good. They're all news reporters, and they've gotten kicked off YouTube, so you can actually make money on D Live, huh? I will check out D Live. What does it mean D Live is devil letters? Any word, you got to pick up a phone and call in and tell me what kind of gibberish you're talking. It's the devil. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
I'm a three-timer tonight. This is Johnny.
You're a three-timer.
Anyway, reason I called, I wanted to ask you something about the Bible. Got it?
All right.
I found a place in the Bible where, how God was real bad. He'd come down and try to kill all the Israelites and lose his mind. And
which time? He done that several times.
Yeah, I know. But then there's other places where he acts completely different, and he says, I just can't do you, Israel, like I did Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm going to go into this country I'm sending you to, and I'm going to be with you and love you and all this stuff.
Ooh.
And then another place, he says, I think according to the end of the Bible, the Old Testament, he says, I hate your solemn assemblies and your blood sacrifices. I want you to just do what's right, And I'm thinking, is there two gods in the Bible, or is maybe the Elohim trying to come along and patch things up?
There's at least two in the Bible, and Vimeo is a bunch of bitches. You're right. Whoever said that. Yeah, I agree with you, John. There's more than one God. There's at least two gods in the Bible, probably more.
Right.
Probably more.
There's a place where it says that God created the 70 nations, and he put gods over all of those nations.
Yep.
And he was over the one of Israel.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
Yep. That's powerful. And, I just thought about this. When you're thinking about the limbs, the limbs.
Right.
And you think about the limbs in the Bible, they had, where they were between Egypt, if it's true, between Egypt and what was called the Promised Land, they went through some pretty nice places. I'm pretty sure that the land on this side of the river was just as good as the land on the other side of the river. But there wasn't nobody on this side of the river. They had to go over to the other side of the river and take somebody else's land. Is that prophetic of what would happen in the Balfour Convention when the modern limbs said, no, we don't want a land where nobody else is. We want to take the land from these people, which that never was our homeland. I wonder if there's a tie in there.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. Yeah,
Interesting.
Anyway, there's a lot of, that's why I said before, there's a lot of contradictions in there in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And you're going like, what are you supposed to believe here about this, about God,
And it's supposed to be contradictory, and it's supposed to keep you confused and bringing you back to the experts to get the answers. John, I'm glad you called 3 times. Late night in the heartland, Jeffrey Daugherty, you're live.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Great. Get Dagger. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks. I was going to talk about the Chinese in Canada, but then you brought up the Book of Mormon and how you said it was boring, and I totally agree with you.
Are there Chinese in Canada?
Well, I was at the base the other day, and I didn't see any. So
Okay.
No, I didn't. Not in the base where I live, near where I live.
Okay.
We'll put that. And there's a good
But you know what? They might have masks on, so they might be hidden cleverly behind surgical masks.
Yeah, I'm out here in kind of out of the big city, so there's not too many Asian Canadians out here. So I think they would be pretty you'd stick out like a sore thumb out here. But I don't know. I'm just maybe that's just me. Maybe
The Asianadians.
Yeah.
The Chinadians. Watch out for if you see some Chinadians, be careful.
I will. But yeah, like I said, I was dating this girl back in the day, and if we ever go to, I don't know if you went to the church or not, but they always tell you to read the Book of Mormon, and they ask you if it's true. Like they kept asking me, "Is it true? Is it true?" And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not true. It's just a bunch of stories made up. I don't even know how they like.
Well, Joseph Smith actually plagiarized it from a book, I believe, called Paradise Lost.
Oh, yeah. Sounds about right. Like they're lost. They're totally lost. If she wasn't so hot, I probably would have left. I don't know why I got baptized. I was really in love with this.
I know that I hear that there's a lot of hot Mormon girls.
There is, and I got sucked in, but it was worth it for a little bit of time.
We won't hold you to an exact definition of that, but what was I going to say? What was I going to say about that? Anyway, I forgot. But yeah, I think a lot of people have been to the place where you've been.
Yeah, and I just heard you talk about LBRY. That's pretty awesome because I was just on my old channel kind of going through my videos. So they actually do that for you. Like you don't have to upload it or move all that stuff, all your videos on there.
I don't know if you have to have a certain amount of videos, but I've got, we have almost 3,000 of them. So they were more than happy to move mine over for me. I don't know if there's a limit that you have to have at least this much before we'll do it, but they did it, and they gave me, crypto coins for doing it. So I'm just like, cool, that's great. And it looks great. It looks powerful. And I feel so much better than I did 2 days ago. And, however this whole thing goes out, we're going to be okay.
Exactly. Because I've got some, not on my autograph channels, but on my main channel, I do put a lot of different types of videos, sort of like I've done a few of those videos, not as in depth as you have, but I've got a lot of them blocked and flagged. So
yeah,
I know what you mean by that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it wasn't Paradise Lost, but it had Paradise in the title, and he was actually proven in court that he plagiarized it. I wrote a book about Joseph Smith. I remember that in my studies.
Oh, cool.
But thanks for bringing us up to date on that. And yeah, I don't think that the Chinese soldiers in Canada should be on the top of your worry list. There's a lot more things that are a lot more present in your life. I'm certain that would require your attention more than Chinese troops in Canada, Chinese troops in Mexico. And Mr. Keelwell reminds us that the Korean Peninsula is not that far from Alaska. Thank goodness that President Trump is working and helping with that channel. So Chris Swartz says, Jeff, wouldn't a prophet use remote viewing to tell his story? I'm confused. Wouldn't remote viewers be prophets, a.k.a. clowns? Well, here's the difference that you're not getting, Chris Swart. Number one, remote viewers are not minstrels, jugglers, jesters, and jokers. That's what prophets always were. The modern definition of the word prophet is not what prophet has been. So remote viewers have never been minstrels, jokers, jesters, jugglers. They've never been. And a remote viewer, a prophet, gets his message, quote unquote, from God. God gives the prophet a message. The remote viewer doesn't get the message from any God. The remote viewer just goes and looks and sees stuff that are places that he can't see physically, and he's able to see things and understand things that I just got my first follower on Library. How about that? Congratulations to Christian Whistleblower, Jeffrey Daugherty. That's me on Library. Has just gotten its first follower. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? So, yeah, I think there's a great gulf between prophecy and remote viewing. The prophets would like you to believe they're remote viewers, but they're just clowns. I like it. I like it. I've always thought the modern Chinese person is a mix of Mongolian and gray alien hybridization. Only on Late Night in the Heartland, ladies and gentlemen, do you hear insightful commentary like that. Wow. Interesting. Jeff, do you recommend I start remote viewing? Well, Joe, if you feel I don't like to use the word calling, but if you feel like you want to do it, I would do it. I would definitely do it. Prophecy and remote viewing are two different things. I agree, because prophecy is fake and remote viewing is real. Prophets don't even know. Prophets wouldn't know what remote viewing is if they tripped over it. Tracy's right on that. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great, Brandon. Have you called before tonight? Or is this your first call tonight?
First one tonight.
Yeah, it all goes together. It all runs together.
Yeah.
Nice to hear from you. What's on your mind? Hey, subscribe to the channel. Like, thumbs up, thumbs down, please.
Exactly. Everybody here in the live chat, go ahead and like the video and push it through the algorithm.
Thank you.
Yeah. And did you happen to see the alien story from the Israeli Space Agency person?
Oh, I heard about that.
Do you think it's possibly, again, another soft fear campaign to try to make people fall for something like the Project Bluebeam?
Oh, Brandon, I just saw it. I didn't even look at it and read it. I've been so busy today. Cynthia mentioned it to me. And you know how I am with aliens, so I don't really get too excited about it. But I am going to look at it because it is, an important development. And I'll be able to give you a more full idea of my take on it after I do that.
Sure. I thought it was interesting when we were talking about shape-shifting with like Biden. I think that may be a smoke screen. They may be using the story as a way to try to explain away weird things that people see in harmonic shifting.
That's a good point too. And I'm not on the alien train because I don't have any proof of aliens. Now, there might be things that we would call alien, but they're from other places on this earth that we don't know about or haven't explored. That's Occam's razor, and I think it makes much more sense to think that they're from bottom of the ocean, under the earth, land that we don't know about, rather than to think they're from the dark side of your anus.
Right, or walk-in entities.
Walk-in entities. I mean, people like. Oh, okay, good. I misread a quote. There are remote viewing classes. I don't know that I would recommend a remote viewing class. The best way to become a remote viewer is to get clear, because the best remote viewers are Dianetic clears, and that is a documented fact. What else is on your mind, Brandon?
Oh, not really a whole lot. I had seen that there were about 4 patients that had taken the jab from Pfizer that had developed Bell palsy.
What is Bell palsy?
I don't know. I would imagine it's something similar to like a disorder where you're paralyzed. I think it's something to deal with like the right side of your face.
Oh, yeah.
But they're talking about with the Pfizer one specifically that it's a multiple injection therapy. So it's like if people are developing adverse reactions after one, how much more do you think they can inject into a person? It doesn't make any sense.
I know they pay you $1,200, but it ain't worth it, man. It ain't worth it.
That's what people are selling themselves for.
Yeah, about $1,200 to be a virus guinea pig.
You're kidding. People would do to that level of.
Yeah, they would. We're being told that Bell's palsy is a temporary paralysis of your face.
Yes. And the 90-year-old woman that was one of the first, if not the first lady to get that done to her, she had some sort of adverse reaction, probably the Bell palsy.
Ooh, yeah, not good. Not good at all. Joe says, please, I don't want to see normal people become disabled like me. Palsy is a pain in the butt. So take it from Joe. Don't take the jab.
The thing that surprises me about Joe's case specifically, like I didn't know that was similar to what he was dealing with, but it sounds like he gets better all the time. He's easier to understand more and more.
And I mean, people, sometimes you see people that are new to the channel or people that are just assholes, say things, but I mean, it's amazing. Right. The bravery and the tenacity that it takes to get on a talk show and talk when you know that you don't sound like everybody else. That just shows me what a strong and powerful person Joe Sapiens is. And every time he calls in, it makes me, want to get up and do some more work, because if he can do it, I can certainly do it.
Right on. And that is what we should really strive toward, is focusing on how we can be more uplifting to other people, because when they see the better parts of ourselves, it inspires us to do the same for them.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Well, Brandon, I appreciate you calling in.
I appreciate your time. I got that check in the mail, so I'm really looking forward to what's coming in the future.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. And I still believe, and it's more than believe, I know, and I'm closing down the phone lines right now, that the world is going to be better than it's ever been. America is going to be better than it's ever been. And it's going to be sooner than any of us can imagine. I know I'm the only guy around saying that, but it is true. And when it happens, I'll be the first one to say, I told you so. A lot of people say, I hate to say I told you so, not me. I love to say, I told you so. Robert Seifer in the chat room says that UFOs must be anything except Antarctic Germans that didn't surrender during World War II. Every other theory is plausible according to Hollywood, but never, ever the Germans. That's obviously a great way of saying what we think, and I would put me in this category, that we think they probably are, and what they, the powers that be, don't want us to know, don't want us to realize, because that empowers humans. And Tracy thinks they're Germans. So do I. I think it's Deutsche Technology for sure. And yeah, I agree 100%. Chris says, keep rocking it, Joe. Jameis says, like, share, subscribe. It's a government op. I agree with that too. Oil completely hides free energy. Absolutely. And, part of the oil lie is we're running out. I think oil is a renewable resource. I think oil is a renewable resource, ladies and gentlemen. And the free energy, it's coming. It's coming. So just because someone dies, it doesn't mean their ideals die with them. Kind of a random thing from Brandy, but a nice little thought to end the show with. We will live on, ladies and gentlemen. We will go on. And the key is that when you do die physically, that you're divine, you're sovereign, and you're free. Because the key to getting out of here is realizing that ain't nobody else going to help you to get out. You've got to be the one to get out for yourself. That's the big secret. That is the big secret, ladies and gentlemen. Be divine, be sovereign, be free. And you better learn it while you're still breathing, because when you stop breathing, it's too late to learn. I echo Laugh Dancer. She says Robert Seifer's videos are really interesting. Go check out his channel. And we'll see you tomorrow night.